Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Very excited about today's video. This is one that has been highly requested from you guys since I first talked about this palette. We are doing a Juvia's Place review today on the Nomad Palette. In fact, I am planning to do a series of these videos. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you might know that last year I did somewhat of a mini series where I thoroughly reviewed and did multiple looks with 4 of the Juvia's Place palettes that I owned. I have since accumulated a few more palettes, and I want to just say this: Juvia's Place is one of my favorite eyeshadow palette brands. The reason being that they tick all of the boxes that I look for in a really good eyeshadow palette. They have an amazing formula, they're easy to work with, their color stories are really fun and interesting, their packaging is gorgeous and adorable, and most importantly, they are affordable. So I thought that we could do the same thing, and today we are kicking it off with the Nomad Palette. This color story, I'm a huge fan of. It is such a fun color story. It's colorful, but it's also neutral. It's bold and light and summery, but it's also deep and dark and almost fall toned. I feel like this is a palette that can kind of do everything. If you are into earthy tones and neutrals that lean a little bit more colorful, I think this would be a really fun one. And I know that a lot of you have picked it up, some on my recommendation, so I thought, you know, I better show you guys some ideas on how to use this thing. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to share with you guys 3 different looks using this palette, including this one right here, which we will be doing first. And then towards the end, I will share with you guys my final thoughts and some swatches of this palette, just in case you are new here and you haven't heard me talk about this one yet. But I hope that you guys are excited about this one. Any of you that are new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I hope that you'll consider subscribing. If you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. And that is it. Let's jump right into this first look. For the first look, I really want to do something very yellow and summery. I'm kind of focusing in this corner section right here. So I'm going to kick things off by just starting off with the lighter yellow right here. We're going to buff this right into and above the crease. And I did already put a little bit of eyeshadow primer. Today I used the Profusion Shadow Primer and topped that with a little bit of translucent powder. I used the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. So I'm really just concentrating this color right above that crease. Now I want that same color to go along the lower lash line, so I'm going to take that on this Juvia's Place small buffer brush, and we're going to run that right under the lower lash line. And then connect the outer corner together right there. Now I want to add a little bit of depth right to the crease. I'm going to do that with this orange right here. I'm taking my Morphe M507 brush, and I'm just going to run a touch of that right through my actual crease. And I'm pulling it about 2/3 of the way across. I also want to pull that color down towards my lash line and just fill in this outer corner right there with that orange. Okay, then I'm going to go back into my M504 brush. Just with what was left on that brush, I'm just kind of buffing those 2 shades together. Now I want to go into the bolder yellow. So this one I'm actually going to take just with my finger because I really want that sparkle to come through, and I just think that's the best way to do it. It is going to be quite intense though. If you don't like the intensity, you could definitely just take the lighter yellow and use that all over the lid before we pop the shimmery shade on the inner corner. That'll give you a little bit more of a soft yellow look, but if you're not afraid of a bold yellow, this is the color we're going to use. I'm going to start off in the center of my lid, and I'm just lightly pressing without pulling. Alright, and now I'm going to take my M507 brush, and there's nothing left on this, I did just wipe it off, and just very lightly around the edge of this shadow I just placed, I'm just buffing that edge out. Now we're going to dip into the shade in the center, and I'm just going to use my pinky finger for this, and I'm going to take that and pop it right on this inner corner. And once I get over towards the yellow, I'm going to use more of like a tapping motion than a pulling motion. I just want to lightly tap it over the top of this yellow here, and I'm kind of pulling it in towards the center just at the lash line. So I start out a little bit wider here, and then I come down and tap it so it kind of tapers in like that. That probably wasn't a very good description, but hopefully you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So now I think I want to take just a tiny bit of the orange color, and on that Juvia's Place small buffer brush, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of this right to this outer corner, about 1/3 of the way in, right along the lash line. Now I'm just adding a little bit of liner to the outer third of the lash line, slightly winging it out, And I will add a little bit just to the outer waterline. Next, I'm going to add a couple of coats of my Tony Moly mascara, and I will be right back with you guys. Alright you guys, so here is the finished look with liner and mascara. Love this one. I think these yellows are so fun. I'm a huge fan of yellow on the lids, especially in the spring and the summertime. I understand that they can be a little bit intimidating, but again, I think the bold yellow that you're seeing really comes from this color right here. If you want a softer yellow, a softer look, you can certainly achieve that by using just this shade right here with a little bit of orange in the crease and the gold shimmer on the lid. But I hope that you guys enjoyed look number 1. Now let's move into my second look. Alright you guys, back for look number 2. This one's going to be very deep smoky. This deep kind of gray bronze shimmery color is really going to be the star of this look. But to kick it off, I'm going to go into a mixture of these two shades right here and kind of build those up right in and above my crease area. Now I'm going to dip into those same two colors with my Juvia's Place small buffer brush. We're going to build that up on the lower lash line. Now I want to start deepening out that outer corner with a little bit of the matte brown before we go into the dark shimmery shade. I'm going to take my M507 brush and we're just going to start to add some depth to this outer corner. So this part is mostly about getting the shape right here on the outer corner. I'm not too worried about what it looks like over here because we are going to be covering it up with that shimmery shade. Because I have more kind of angular and harsh features, if I'm using a dark color on my lid, I like to keep the shape pretty soft and round here on the outer corner. I just feel like it softens up a dark shade just a little bit more. So I kind of place the color here and then I just do like a round sort of C shape to pull it in through my crease and down along my lash line. Keep that shape relatively round. And I'm pulling what's left on the brush in about halfway. Now I'm going to take the Juvia's Place small buffer brush. I'm just going to tap the very tip of it into that matte brown. And I'm just going to tie the corner down to the lower lash line. So I'm just running that under the outer third or fourth of the outer lash line. I'm barely putting that down there. I'm just basically tying the upper to the lower without adding too much intensity down there. If I'm going deep on the upper lid, I think it's important to have something to tie it down below, but if you don't want to go deep on your lower lash line, if you don't think that looks very good on you, which is definitely how I feel, I don't like when a deep liner or shadow goes all the way in on my lid. It closes off my eyes and doesn't look very good on me. So this is kind of my way of cheating, or kind of just getting it to work for my eye shape and my preference. Alright, so now we are going to go into the shimmery, what would you call this? It's almost like a gunmetal bronze. Pewter? Is that the right word? It's kind of a pewtery color. I'm just taking that on my finger and we're going to pop that on the lid. So I'm going to go right almost all the way to the inner corner, but when I get to the inner corner right here, I don't want to go up too high. We will clean up this shape a little bit before we add something to the inner corner. So most of the shadow we're just placing on the center of the lid and tapping it out to meet where we added this depth right there. This side looks really nice and the placement looks really good. This side got a little bit messy, so I'm just going to lightly, very lightly buff that corner out with a cotton bud. Then I'm going to take the Wayne Goss number 18 brush and I'm going to dip into that very just light cream shade right there. I'm just going to buff out this edge the tiniest bit. Alright, and now I think I want to take the shimmery shade and we're going to add that to the inner part of the lid. This time I'm going to use a brush. I'm going to take this brush right here from Alamore Cosmetics, but a brush is going to give you a little bit more precision when it comes to the placement of the color. So I'm going to start on the inner corner and we're going to just lightly tap that in towards the pewter shade. And I want to pull it up right through this area right here to overlap that pewter shade as it kind of moves inward. So I'm almost doing the opposite of what I did with the last look, where I'm taking the shimmer more up and in rather than in along the lash line. And then once I get to kind of that edge, I just, with what's left on my brush, I just kind of tap on top of that pewter shade. And I actually think it helps if you use your finger to really press those colors together. Then I'm just taking a little bit more on that brush, and we're going to just kind of pop it on this tear duct right here. This part is optional. If you like to highlight your inner corner, your inner tear duct, make a look like this. It helps to really brighten up the whole look, because this look, it is going to close off your eyes a little bit. Alright, now for the lower lash line, I think it looks pretty good. I actually think I want to dip back into that light yellow color and just very lightly run that kind of right underneath the dark shade right here and all the way in. Alright, and now we're going to add some liner. Let's go back in with the Wet n Wild brown liner. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add this to my upper lash line, my upper waterline just on the outer half. Then I'm going to add the same mascara, and I will be right back with you guys with the finished look. Alright guys, so here is look number 2, finished off with mascara and liner. I do love this one. I really love the combination of like the black kind of pewter color and the gold. I think it makes such a fun smoky eye and a really interesting combination, because this color is pretty cool toned, whereas this one's a little bit warm. I feel like this side, I'm having issues with this little corner right here, not blending quite as nice as this side, but I've tried messing with it a few times. I can't quite seem to get it right. Sometimes our makeup is not perfect, just like everything else in life, and that is okay. But I hope you guys enjoyed this more kind of smoky look. I think it's perfect for a date night, or if you are just into more smoky, dark looks, I think this one would be perfect for you. But now let's go ahead and move into my third and final look. Alright guys, back for my third and final look, and this one we are dipping into some of my favorite shades. I would say this is probably like my signature look from this palette. We're going to be using both of these green tones as well as the shimmer all over the lid. Maybe deepen things up a little bit with this dark brown right here. But to kick things off, I'm going to go in with a mixture of this light skin tone shade, and I hate calling this pukey green, but I don't know what else to call it. So pukey green it is. We're going to mix these two shades together, and then I'm just going to start putting those right on and above my crease. But I just love the color of it. So beautifully ugly, you know? I think one of you said mossy green in my comment section. I thought that is a much more attractive sounding name for that color than pukey green. Now we're going to start deepening up that outer corner just with that green right here. So this I'm going to try and take in about halfway and just really start packing that or blending that onto this outer part of my lid and up through the crease. So I'm taking that color on its own on my Wayne Goss number 18 brush, and I'm just going to start tapping that first, this outer corner, and then I just kind of am starting to lightly pull that in, and we'll kind of do this in a couple layers. And now I'm going to take my Juvia's Place small buffer brush, and I'm going to tap into that same color, and we're going to start adding this to the lower lash line. I'm only going to pull this in about halfway on that lower lash line. I'm really just trying to merge the color and clean up this shape on the outer corner right here. Alright, now I want to go into the deep green, and we're going to take the Morphe M507 brush and tap into just the tiniest amount of that color, and I'm just going to start from the outer corner, dragging that down towards the outer lash line. The outer corner of my upper lash line is what I meant to say. And I'm keeping that pretty much in a straight line. I'm not going to pull that deep color in too far. I really just want this to add depth to the lash line, almost like we're adding a very, very smudgy, smoky winged liner with the shadow. And then once all the color is down, I like to take just really small kind of circular motions just to kind of buff that up into the outer corner so there's no definition in that line. It just kind of subtly fades in, if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys can see. I wiped off my brush, and now I'm just going kind of around this outer corner just to clean up the shape here. Make sure those colors are nice and blended. Alright, now I think I want to pack just a little bit more of this green onto that sort of center point of my lid. And this we will cover with that very opaque shimmer, so just a tiny bit of this color is going to peek through. Alright, and now we are going to dip into the center shade. I'm going to use my finger this time for this, and I'm just going to start packing that on the inner part of the lid to about the halfway point, and then just kind of tap it out right here at the halfway mark. I'll worry about blending that corner right there in just a minute. Oh, look at that. You guys see why this is like my favorite lid color? Is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? And now we're going to go back into my M507 brush, and I'm just going to kind of buff this outer corner a little bit to almost kind of dust off some of the shimmer that went just a little bit too far, and just kind of blend that edge a little bit and even reveal a little bit of the green color that's underneath there. It's going to be pretty subtle. Most of what you're going to see is the deep green and then the mossy green that's kind of around the perimeter here. That mossy green underneath is a very subtle effect, but it is there. I have tried it without the mossy green and just with the mossy green through the crease, the deep green on the outer corner, and the gold on the lid. And I think adding the mossy green beneath the shimmer shade just adds something a little bit special. And if you really want to pull back in some of that mossy green color to the outer corner, you can definitely dip back in. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and dip in with the M507 brush. And we're just going to feather that over this outer edge right here. And I think I'm pretty happy with how that looks. If you do want to add just a little bit more depth, you could even dip back into the green shade, or you could even dip into the deep brown. But I'm pretty happy with where we are. I do want to take just a little bit of the green shade on my Juvia's Place small buffer brush, tap off the excess so there's just the tiniest amount right there. So I'm just going to take that little bit of shadow and just apply it right here at this corner where my upper and lower lashes meet. This is just going to kind of clean up the shape. It's going to add a tiny bit of depth to this outer lower part of my lash line, but just at the very corner. It's just going to kind of make the whole thing look a little bit more clean and smoky. This is one of my favorite tricks. If you struggle to get this part of your eye to look nice and clean, but smudgy, but not too all over the place, I love getting a brush kind of like this that's kind of wide, but also narrow, nice and soft, and then just really smudging that right almost into your lashes, and it just gives you that nice winged shape in such a simple and easy way. It takes literally 3 seconds to do that. All right, you guys, so I don't even think that we need liner for this look. Normally I would put liner on, but we're gonna just leave it at this because I know not everyone wears liner. And with a look that is this smoky on the outer corner, you definitely don't need to add liner. So we're just gonna go in with my Tony Moly mascara, and I'll be right back to share with you guys the finished look. Alright you guys, and here is the finished look number 3. This I think is the first look I ever created using this palette, and it's one that I keep going back to time and time again, or at least a version of this look, but I just love this one. Is this not the prettiest lid shade? I know I already said this probably twice, but you have to agree with me. This is just the prettiest lid shade in existence. Love this one. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Definitely my favorite though. Alright you guys, so hope that you enjoyed those 3 looks. As always, let me know which one was your favorite. Now I just want to go into a couple of details about this palette. So again, here is the color story of the Nomad palette. I will insert some shots here of the packaging, also the swatches of the palette. As you can see, this palette includes 7 mattes, one of those mattes being this yellow that does have some shimmer in it, but I would still consider it a matte, and it includes 2 shimmers. Now the shimmers, this one right here, I would say is more of a satin shimmer, whereas this center shade is a true foiled reflective gold shimmer. If you have not seen my other videos where I've talked about this palette, this center shade is one of my very favorite lid shades in my entire makeup collection. It is such a beautiful and perfect lid shade, I personally think, for any skin tone. It has enough brightness that I feel it would work on the very fairest of fair skin tones, but it also has that beautiful bronze shift that I think would look so beautiful on the deepest of skin tones as well. I absolutely love this shade. I can't say enough wonderful things about it, but that is not the only beautiful shade inside here. I just love the color story of this in general. I'm a big fan of very neutral, army, earthy kind of tones. I've really been into kind of green tones that have a bit more of like a khaki shift to them. This pukey green color right here is so much fun. I know that's a terrible description for a color, but I love this color on the eyes. It is beautiful and interesting, but still kind of neutral. This deep forest green right here is so stunning and perfect for deepening out the outer V if you want a pop of green. But if you want to stick with the neutrals, this is a perfect brown. Juvia's Place never, ever does brown eyeshadow wrong. In fact, I would say any of their shadows that have a deep matte brown in them, I'm like, yes, I love Juvia's Place matte browns. They're fantastic. They're so very rich and blend really easily. And then you just get these beautiful kind of warm neutrals over here as well. I know I did only share with you guys 3 looks today, but I feel like there are certainly more options that you could use this palette for. I think this green right here would make a gorgeous liner shade if you wanted to do a matte kind of deep forest green liner with the pop of gold on the lid and maybe a little bit of this yellow in the crease. That would be a stunning look. You could get a gorgeous halo eye using any of these colors on the outer and inner corner, or even the yellow or the orange with the gold in the middle. Really, the possibilities are endless in here. And what I love so much about this color story is everything is different, yet everything coordinates and goes together, which is kind of a hard balance to achieve. I can't even say that with all of Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. I feel like there's certain shades in certain areas that go together than other shades in other areas that go together. This is one of their more cohesive color stories in my opinion, while still giving you a lot of variety. I checked this morning, this palette does retail for $15. It is currently on sale for $12. I thought the last time I checked a couple months ago it retailed for $20, but keep an eye on the Juvia's Place website if you're looking to save money. They often run sales and their sales are amazing. Their shipping is, I believe, $4.95, but it's totally worth it if you can save $5 or $10 on one of their palettes. But that is it for my review of the Juvia's Place Nomad palette. You guys know I'm a big fan of this one. Keep an eye out because I am going to be reviewing at least 3 more of the palettes. Let me just show you guys the ones that I have. Maybe you can vote down below. I have the Saharan 2, the Tribe palette, the Warrior 2, and also the Coral palette. So let me know which of these palettes you would most like to see 3 looks in a review on next. I will try to eventually get to all of them, but let me know which one you would most like to see. But that is it for today. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you are surviving the madness that is going on right now. I hope you are staying safe and healthy. I hope that you have toilet paper. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel today. One more reminder, if you haven't yet subscribed, please be sure to do that before you leave, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye. But we'll survive. We have a lot of hand soap. Okay, wait, that was not the joke I meant to make. That's a little bit gross. I was not implying. Okay, move on. Mandy, that's disgusting. Move on. Can you tell I have boys? That's where my mind goes. It's always in the gutter. Mandy, you... Clumsy woman. Sorry. Kids are home. Kids are home for us all, right? There's a marathon apparently going on upstairs in my living room. I wonder who won. Lashes. Hello. Who's hammering? Hammering is now happening. Aren't good mascara days the best?